Today's movie is about one of the largest and most devastating natural disasters. Our film starts on Christmas Day with a powerful tsunami storm hitting the Indian Ocean near Indonesia. The storm strikes a boat carrying a man trapped in heavy iron chains, unable to move. The rescue team locates them and rushes to save them before another big wave approaches. A person on the boat refuses to leave his companion behind to die. His friends urge him to go and entrust him with taking care of his daughter, Yunhee. The next day, news spreads about the earthquake that triggered the tsunami, affecting many parts of East Asia. Yunhee learns about her father's death. Yunhee argues with an older lady, Aunt Yun, who sells fish in front of the fish market. She's frustrated, stating that all orphans behave strangely like this. Yun gets angry and confronts Aunt Yun, but the fierce aunt doesn't wait. She grabs Yun by her hair until her son arrives. She scolds him for allowing Yun to come here and is surprised that he's supporting Yun. Her son, named Sik, takes Yun away. Sik reproaches Yun for standing in front of the shop again and tells her she should respect those older than her. Yun becomes defensive and tells him that she just needs to learn how to deal with respect. She leaves him and walks away. We'll see a meeting of the Korean Space Agency, and there's a doctor named Dr. Kim who says that the upcoming tsunami will cut a large piece of the island. It will create a big wave, and one of the base personnel will joke about it. But Kim responds and tells him that he's saying this because it's a possibility. The meeting concludes, and Kim goes to sit with a woman, and they exchange a few words. It becomes clear that she's his ex-wife, Eugene. Kim asks about their daughter, Jin-soo, but suddenly he sees her entering. Leo doesn't recognize her, and her mother asks her to greet Professor Kim and tells her to go with her husband. Eugene tells him that it's better if she doesn't know anything about him, claiming it's to avoid distraction. She greets him and leaves. The next day, Kim is in the office and discovers with his assistant that there's an imminent earthquake, and the epicenter will be near them. In another scene, we see two businessmen engaged in a suspicious deal. Yun has opened a small restaurant, and Sik invites his friends and their manager. However, Sik's mother arrives, berates Yun, and accuses her of stealing their dishes. Sik takes everyone away because of his mother's behavior, and he gives a lot of money to Leon. Later, Yun sits down with the assistant named Dong and asks for his opinion about Sik. Dong seems to be infatuated with Yun, and it's evident that he likes her. At that point, they head out on a boat for fishing. Sik invites Yun to a baseball match with his group of traders to build more connections. Eventually, Yun agrees, and Dong becomes annoyed by the situation. They are shown watching the match, and Hemi approaches Sik, forcing him to spend time with her against his will. She demands compensation for accidentally hitting her in the eye and asks him how much he earns. She takes his phone and calls his manager, insisting on compensation and improvement of conditions for their employees. Then she leads him away to continue the evening. Sik returns to celebrate at the restaurant with his friends, and his mother teases him for mingling with a businesswoman. Sik approaches Yun, who finds him holding utensils and dishes for her to use. Sik is shown to be a respectful and considerate man. We see Kim trying to predict the timing of the earthquake with very basic tools. A crew member challenges him, saying they can't beat the Japanese, leading to an argument. Later on, Sik faces consequences and is required to take mandatory custody time, spending time in the custody of a child protection agency. He sits with a girl who is crying, wanting her mother, and she doesn't have her mother's contact numbers. We find Kim's phone ringing, and he goes to pick up his daughter Ji-min, who doesn't acknowledge him as her father. He tells her that she can't leave unless with an official guardian, likely referring to her mother, and he asks him to wait for her. Suddenly, we are surprised to find Sik meeting with the businessman he dislikes. The businessman offers Sik money in exchange for them swapping their locations at the port. Sik becomes agitated, rejects the offer, and tells the man that he was responsible for his friend's, Eugene's father, death, and his body hasn't even been found yet. The manipulative man tries to deceive Sik, claiming that he's doing this for Sik and Yun's safety. Sik sees through the deceit and leaves. Kim spends time with his daughter Ji-min, bringing her food. However, her mother arrives and scolds Ji-min, hitting her. Kim tries to intervene, but Ji-min tells him not to interfere, takes the girl, and leaves. Hemi, the eccentric woman, goes to Sik's workplace and asks how he knew her new workplace. They chat, and she learns his name is Sik and that he's a theater student. He asks her if she's good at acting, and she suggests he needs to watch her. Just as they are getting to know each other, his friends enter. Sik asks his friends to leave them alone, and Hemi takes advantage of the moment to pretend in front of his friends. She confronts Sik, expressing her feelings and frustration, revealing her plan to take her daughter away from him. She shouts and asserts that she won't let go of her daughter. Sik later dismisses her behavior as crazy and lies to his friends about the situation. Hemi continues her act, saying she'll kill herself. The scene shifts back to the shipwreck in the ocean where Sik and Yun have an argument. Yun's father dies unintentionally due to Sik's actions, leading to Sik feeling guilty. Sik has a dream and wakes up, holding his son in his arms, a son he almost lost due to the shipwreck. Kim and his team discover that multiple earthquakes will occur around Korea, with the potential for a massive tsunami if the island between Korea and Japan is affected. The tsunami could reach a height of at least 50 meters. Kim explains everything to his manager, emphasizing the need to evacuate the island within 10 minutes. When asked how much time they have, he replies 10 minutes. The scene shifts to Yun visiting her father's grave with Sik. She asks Sik to come closer and tells her father to convey to Sik how much she loves him. Sik remains clueless, and Yun cries as she walks away. Sik then apologizes to Yun's father, tears up, and goes to talk to his friend, Hemi. He reveals his intention to marry Yun, but Hemi strongly refuses, questioning if Sik knows who Yun's father is. She leaves Sik, and he walks away. Shortly after, Sik receives a threatening message, demanding him to reach the restaurant within 10 minutes or he'll be dead. Sik remembers it as a joke, heads to work, and prepares a gift for Hemi. On his way, he encounters a group of young men who beat him up. One of them claims to be Hemi's fiancé and advises Sik to stay away from her, wondering how someone like her would even look at Sik. Sik opens the gift and criticizes himself, saying he's just an ordinary guy, warning the man that if he sees Sik with Hemi again, he'll be in trouble. Meanwhile, Leon is hosting a dinner for a businessman named Ike and comments on his happy mood. Ike reveals that he finally got approval for the Golden Beach project. He suggests that Yun shouldn't worry because her father recommended her, and she needs to visit his office to check out a new place to live. Yun politely declines, and Ike leaves irritated. As Yun tries to leave, Ike stops her and mentions that he'll send the annual rent in a few days. This angers him further, and he advises her not to work too much. Sik takes Yun to a lovely place where they change into nice clothes. He hints at a surprise, looks at his watch, and suddenly fireworks light up the sky. Yun is thrilled, and Sik takes advantage of the moment, presenting her with a ring and proposing. Yun playfully tells him to meet her at her restaurant tomorrow if he finds a red ribbon on the boat, indicating her agreement. She assures him not to expect something grand and takes Sik to watch the fireworks together. Later, Sik finally reaches Hemi, who radiates happiness upon seeing him. He tells her that he doesn't want to know her anymore, accusing her of deceiving him, and walks away. The next day, we see Dong and his mother. She tells him to go to his new job, but he refuses and goes to sit with Yun. She informs him that Sik has proposed to her. Dong can't control his emotions and confesses everything to Yun. At that moment, they receive news of an upcoming earthquake near the island. Japan contacts them, advising the complete evacuation of the area. Sik would be waiting for Yun at the harbor, but she doesn't show up. Instead, Dong comes in her place and informs Sik that Yun won't be coming and that she told him the truth. Sik becomes very angry, hits Dong, and chases after him. They notice a crow that breaks the car window, and as they look behind, they see a flock of birds and a large dark cloud. Kim contacts his daughter Jean and urges her to escape quickly. However, Eugene confronts Kim upon learning about it. Kim goes to the foolish manager to convince him to evacuate, but the manager brushes it off as just earthquakes happening in Japan and dismisses the evacuation. Later, an assistant informs Kim that evacuation orders have indeed been received. During a conference, the news spreads, and people start leaving. Yun and Hemi are on a yacht with their friends, while Sik waits for Yun at her restaurant. She tells him she wants to be alone today. Suddenly, an earthquake is felt, and the news of a tsunami hits the shore. Chaos ensues, and Kim receives a call confirming a tsunami wave within 10 minutes. Despite giving instructions, he notices that Jean is still not in a safe place and rushes to rescue her. June wakes up alone, while Soo-jin struggles in an elevator. Kim arrives, saving them. Yun senses something on the shore and rushes to find Sik. They find each other and run to safety as the tsunami hits the town. The tsunami devastates the area, claiming lives including Sik's mother, son, and Dong. Many others also perish as the tsunami wreaks havoc. People run in fear, and the wave hits every corner with immense force, including the hotel where Kim's family was. The rescue team, including Dong, arrives in time to save Himi and her friend, while water reaches June in the bathroom. Sik and Yun are running with the crowd in the street. Yun stumbles, and Sik goes back to catch up with her, but the wave is getting closer. Sik grabs Yun and shields himself against a pillar as the tsunami wave approaches. The tsunami wave subsides, and we discover that Dong is still alive. He's bewildered and points at Sik's mother and son. Dong is bewildered, and he continues to look for them. Suddenly, he senses the bridge moving and a wire kills the man next to him. Afterward, many incidents occur around Dong, but he miraculously survives. At that time, Yun and Sik are swimming in the flooded city, trying to escape. They realize that an electric wire is approaching the water, endangering their lives. Quickly, Sik tells Yun to climb onto the pillar. Yun tries to save herself, and Sik climbs up right after her. The electric wire reaches the water, killing everyone who comes in contact with it. Sik and Yun manage to hold on to the pillar. Kim manages to free June from the room and prevents her from falling off the tower. He is in the water with Himi and her friend, who is trying to save himself before Himi. However, Himi hits him, causing him to lose consciousness. She reveals that they were never engaged, just friends she knew. Eugene is trapped in the elevator and talks to Kim to ensure June's safety. Kim asks about her location, but she initially refuses to reveal it. He persists and eventually figures out her location. He tries to escape from the guards. Yun wakes up, seizes the opportunity, and admits to June that she made a big mistake. She should have told her everything. She mentions that Kim is actually her father. June asks about Yun's location, acknowledging that the water is drowning her, and she's ready to surrender to it. However, a worker manages to catch up with her, opens the elevator, and saves her. Dong, the foolish character, is seen sitting in a chair, lighting a cigarette. The lighter flies out of his hand and lands near spilled gasoline from a car. An explosion occurs as he runs, causing the bridge to explode along with him. Moving to Sik, who managed to reach a building and attempts to pull Yun with him. However, a window falls on Sik, plunging him back into the water. Yun grabs his hand to catch up with him and encourages him. Sik tells Yun that he needs to tell her something important.